I'm angry. I feel very disappointed, and I feel like we don't even matter. For this man not to have served one day in a combat zone or in a threat area, and for him to get the treatment that he's getting opposed to the treatment that we're getting, it's an embarrassment.
Well, that was Sergeant Alonzo Lunsford, one of the dozens injured during the Fort Hood massacre. He was reacting to news that the Defense Department is now formally blocking efforts to award survivors Purple Hearts or other commendations because it believes doing so would adversely affect the trial of Major Nadal Hassan by labeling the attack as terrorism. That's according to a DOD document obtained by Fox News. John Fund is a columnist for the National Review magazine and co-author of Who's Counting? How Fraudsters and Bureaucrats Put Your Vote at Risk. And you are not happy about this. You've written a piece today suggesting that this was a boneheaded decision, but now we have it directly from the military saying, from an Army spokesman who says these folks who were killed in Fort Hood did not meet the criteria of the award of the Purple Heart. So neither they nor those who were shot and survived will be getting it, period.
Megan, when I first saw this headline, I thought it was some kind of sick April Fool's joke, but it's not. The government's position is preposterous. There have been thousands of people given Purple Hearts since 9/11. There were Eric Holder, the Attorney General, and other people in the Obama administration called for civilian trials of some of the terrorist perpetrators like Sheikh Mohammed. And at no point did they ever say labeling them a terrorist would deny them a free trial, a fair trial.
Because that's what they're saying now, that if they, at this point in the proceedings, label this a terrorist act, because just to let you know that you can't get the Purple Heart unless you qualify under the Department of Defense Manual of Military Decorations and Awards. And that manual states that you can get it if you're killed or wounded in action against an enemy of the United States, as the result of an act of any hostile foreign force, or as the result of an international terrorist attack against the United States. And they are going for number 3, international terrorist attack against the United States. And apparently the DOD is saying, look, that it doesn't qualify. It wasn't an international terrorist attack.
It was workplace violence.
That's what they say. That's the official designation from the administration. Which
is beyond absurd, and it's an insult. It's a punch in the gut to the 32 people who were wounded in the line of duty serving their country. You know, if you're in the military, wherever you are is a potential battlefield. And to say that this fellow, who, by the way, was consorting with foreign radical imams and who clearly was motivated by
like almost
jihad.
2 dozen emails from Anwar al-Awlaki, right?
They were clearly motivated by terrorist elements. And in fact, he was clearly on an Islamic jihad. For them to not say this is terrorism is, I think, to belittle the war on terror. And also the message it sends to our adversaries is we're not a serious country. Calling something like this workplace violence, we're in denial.
They seem to be suggesting this is going to compromise the trial. I mean, they say it's going to compromise his right to a fair trial, his ability, directly compromising Major Hassan's ability to receive a fair trial. That's what the Army objects to here. They believe that doing this would compromise his ability to have a fair trial. But we do want him to get a fair trial.
Of course.
For many other reasons, but because when he gets convicted, we want to be able to look back and say it happened fairly.
Look, the FBI has already said this is a terrorist incident. The congressional hearings concluded this was a terrorist incident. For the Department of Army to simply add on and say, oh yeah, it's a terrorist incident, doesn't change anything. Also, a military trial has much different standards of evidence and much different standards of civilian trial. This is the military's trial. For the military not to be able to say this is an act of terrorism is to deny a fact. Trials are supposed to be about facts.
Then why are they doing this?
Because
they say, according to the Department of Defense, the benefits are basically the same. Whether you get the Purple Heart and you declare it an act of terrorism or you don't, the benefits are the same. Now, the families deny that. The families say that's not true. You get higher priority with veterans' disability compensation if you get the Purple Heart. But why? What is the motivation to not admit that?
Because, A, we don't want to offend our friends in the Middle East. We don't want to say that the Islamic Jihad is still active. And I guess maybe they want to have a perfect score. They want to say there's not been any terrorist incidents in the United States under our watch, and this might blemish the record. I don't know what their belief system is here, but it's insane. And frankly, it just rubs the noses of everybody who suffered in this incident into the ground.
Their lawyer, there's a lawyer who's representing the Fort Hood victims, And he says they've been given the back of the hand by their government. He says it is absurd, this ruling, and he says the Obama administration has given them a kick in the gut. However, John, one last point. If you read the specific language out of the Department of Defense Manual of Military Decorations and Awards, does it apply? I mean, if you want to follow the letter of the law, is this a terrorist act as our government would define it?
Operating in the service of a foreign ideology, jihad, having been incited to it by a foreign imam, someone in the United States military taking out only military personnel who are trying to defend us. What isn't an act of terrorism in all of the above?
John Fund, thanks for being here.
Thank you.